How extraordinary would it be to make people feel included? Share a perspective of diversity and allow others to grow through your experience. Well, hello. That is what the focus is today on our podcast, The Business of Life Masterclass. It's all about diversity and inclusion. So, greetings again, everyone. It's Debbie Lundberg, performance coach, remote work rockstar author, and the founder and CEO of the national firm Presenting Powerfully.
Barb Zant here, media sales leader and founder of the lifestyle brand, The Stay at Work Mom. Debbie, what a timely and important topic. You and I both enjoy learning and growing through others by sharing and their stories. And wouldn't it be sensational to share our guest with our listeners today? Who is our guest today, please?
Well, what's exciting is, Barb, you got to meet her in person in our
I did.
masks
Yeah.
at her book launch. So our guest is the founder and president of Empowering Differences. Cool name, right? Empowering Differences. It's also the title of her book that was just released last year. And we were so fortunate to be there in that safe environment. Her personal story of inclusion through leadership dialogue is often requested for talks, meetings, and events. She decided to self-identify during a job interview as a male to female transgender woman. She fought through that discrimination and harassment to rise above and find employment as a teller for a major US-based corporation. Then, through various financial roles over the next 5 years, as a matter of fact, until she was appointed to her position as the vice president with the National Diversity and Inclusion Team. She did that in 5 short years. I'm sure there was a lot that happened, though. Through all of that, she recently celebrated 17 years of marriage to Whitney, and together they have 2 biological sons, Bryce, 14, and Blake, 12. So, Barb and all of our listeners, please welcome our guest with many honors to bestow upon her, Ashley Brundage.
Hey everyone, I'm so glad to be here and follow such amazing leaders that you've had on this amazing Business of Life podcast. And I just wanted to say how excited I am to really be here to lend some inspiration and amazing learning that you all do.
Welcome, Ashley, and thank you so much for being on today. We asked you on today because you are an expert in diversity and inclusion. And the reason that is important to our listeners is because, wow, our current climate demands that we all do better here. We all could learn from you. So glad you're here. In 10 words or less, what made you want to be on our show today specifically?
So for me, it was really centered around the leaders and the leadership lens that you have for your show. And I really love that. And then honestly, a little bit of personal love because Debbie was a performance coach for me. And it really, really honestly was one of the things that changed my life and changed my career arc.
Thank you so much, Ashley. I had no idea Ashley was going to say that, and you can tell it's touched me, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Ashley. All right. Well, with that wonderful, thoughtful message, we are now moving on to the Business of Life Masterclass Podcast 4. So these are our 4 questions that we ask every guest to answer for that insight and inspiration that you mentioned. Ashley, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Number 1, what time do you typically get up in the morning, and what is your daily routine to get your day started right for you?
So I'm a 6:30 a.m. Riser, not because I am like to. I'm definitely not a morning person. But when you have kids and school is in session, you've got to rock the day, and so I get myself ready and always be camera ready, always be ready to go. You never know when people walk around with these video camera recording devices that they can capture you at any moment. So you have to be always on, and it's like the world is your show. So I love the ability to be ready, and then I focus on investing in my family and my kids, and that morning time, that first hour of the day is like everything for me. It's that get ready. It's the family time, and then it's the first few little bit of time that I'm working on stuff for work, and the first hour is like so much energy and so much fun for me.
So good to hear. And we hear that a lot, that people get up early, whether they're morning people, quote unquote, or not, and what a difference it makes in their day. Okay, so you've got that hour that just you embrace, Ashley. Number two, what is something other than that power hour, I'll call it, in your morning routine that you believe that if people were to do it, it would set them up for additional level of success? Barb and I think of this as your extra for, or Barb calls it your special sauce. So what would that be you wish people would do?
All right, I've been looking forward to this one for the whole podcast. This is it. Um, and I know that you teased a little bit about diversity and inclusion, so you knew I was going to come with one here. But this is the one that I love, and it's really do a privilege check. When we joined in on this, we kind of tested our audio. We did a mic check, and instead of doing a mic check every day, do a privilege check. And what that consists of is it's you basically doing a social inventory of everything that you have access to and how that impacts your life. So when you think about privileges, right? Can you hear us? Can you see us? Can you walk in the room? Do you have representation amongst other people in the room? Are you the only person with your layer of diversity who has presence in this moment and in this section? And so the real change that's going to happen around the new year and 2021 and beyond is all centered around advocacy and education. And if you do that privilege check in that moment and make a huge impact for others and amplify others who need amplification, you are going to be moving and leaps and bounds and making such an impact, not just for yourself, but for others. And that's really the center around empowerment and how empowerment works. It's giving power and authority for others. You can give empowerment to yourself, but much, much stronger to give it to others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that privilege check, and those who see the videos, they know that Barb's taking notes, and that I'm certain that that is going to be one of our key takeaways. And the power of empowerment is standing out for me right now. And you mentioned the word impact a couple of times. So let's go on to number three. Who or what has had the biggest impact or influence in your life, in your success? And importantly, Ashley, what have you done with that influence or impact?
So this one, since we know each other very well, my I call them Ashley's allies.
Hmm.
And so Bryce, Blake, and Whitney really saved. They literally saved my life. And I don't say that without understanding the causality of what those words really feel. Um, Making the decision to live authentically was not an easy choice. Um, People say, "Oh, well, you made the decision to transition. It was a choice." It was the decision that I made was whether I lived or died. Like it was that serious.
Yes.
So I chose to live. I chose to rise above negativity and focus on the positive aspects. So really, allyship is kind of that thing that I wanted to center on here, and why it's so important. But it really can change lives. And sometimes it could be something as simple as check in with people. Hey, how are you doing? In this environment where so many things are remote work right now, you have to really find the time to have the coffee chat and the water cooler talk. Those things are through purposeful engagements in the way that you connect with others. So allyship and how you build others up. I know I talked about privilege earlier, but allyship is going to really change people's lives. And then what you do with that, right, really matters. So just to kind of elaborate just quickly on that, um, once you're given that opportunity, you're given the empowerment, you're given allyship, you have to seize that moment and you have to take it. And then you have to put it forth to the world and share it. So for me personally, um, I had that direct allyship that was given to me by my family, and there are so many others who go through difficult times who don't have that. So that's why I volunteer in the community. It's why I raise money for charity. It's why I serve on GLAAD's national board, amplifying LGBTQ voices across
Hmm.
the whole world. The thought behind that is when you're given an opportunity and somebody has invested the time and energy and resources to be an ally for you, you should then carry that burden and make such an impact for others.
Right. And even if it's one ally, we know that we can take that allyship and that ally who we have and share it, right? So all right, that whole idea of when you said live or die and that you took it seriously, it brings us to question 4 really, that our series and ultimately our master class is about that positive and overcoming and moving in that direction. At the same time, you more than many know that there are challenges out there. So through your observations, what is something that you wish people would stop doing so that they would be able to move forward?
All right, so I'm going to take us on a little bit of a different path here. So for me, I would say a stop would be to stop taking the road easier path to your mission. Um, and when I look back at my career development journey, which is kind of the centering concept of empowering differences, is that it's not always going to be the easy path. Like you don't move from being a part-time bank teller to being the VP of diversity and inclusion in less than 5 years by taking the easy path. So you need to stop thinking about the easy path to get from point A to point B. Sometimes you're going to have to go the very difficult path. And what I mean by that a little bit deeper is that when you are like, I could have gone into the traditional track of being a branch manager working in a retail bank. I mean, that's, you start in a bank and you work your way up. You become a banker, senior teller, banker, and you learn all these products, and then you're a business and you're doing business banking and lots of fun stuff. And I loved all of those aspects as an individual contributor. And I was constantly asked, "Oh, would you be interested in moving into management?" And that's most career arcs work that way. They see what you do, and then you move into management in that role. But that might not necessarily be the best path for you. So you have to sometimes know to move against the grain or to move something that may not look normal in your sense of the word normal. Um, and so what I did was I chose to continue to be an individual contributor, and that path might have been harder, and it definitely was harder to continue down that road. But then through purposeful engagements and building relationships and advocacy and allies and sponsors, those are the ways then you can grow in your career and make such a huge leap from being that bank level employee and then going into being the VP of diversity and inclusion. Like I did that because I went against the norm in the easy way.
All right, so now we know. Take the path that maybe not only the not as comfortable, but the least comfortable. So Ashley, thank you so much. I see Barb smiling and she's eager to share as well. So I'll send it to her.
Thank you, Ashley. That was impactful, very impactful. And I have pages of notes, but I have a couple of outstanding things that I know that we are going to implement immediately. I love like the power hour, how much the empowerment impact, but the privilege check, absolutely 100%. Debbie and I attended your event and we got your book and your workbook. And so one of the things we do is we want to support you. And so we will be doing that workbook together. And, it really stuck with me. Stop taking the easier path, the career arc. I'm gonna explore that a little bit. So Debbie, your list might be a little bit different, but are you willing to get with me in the next week or so and implement some of these tips immediately?
Absolutely. We made sure we had the book read before this. We're ready for the workbook and the workshops that come with it, and it's all so accessible the way it is online. So definitely that power hour. I know mine includes running, and that's part of that empowerment, the personal side, but that privilege check will be an addition. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to us going on the journey together. So I am ready. So with that, oh, Barb, go ahead.
Thank you again, Ashley, for being here today. And please know, listeners, that you can stay connected with Ashley Brundage on all social media at Ashley Brundage, most everywhere. You can also follow Debbie and myself on Instagram at the Business of Life Masterclass, me at the Stay at Work Mom, and Debbie Lundberg is also Debbie Lundberg pretty much everywhere. If you've loved what you've heard, please rate us 5 stars. We are committed to providing you with 5-star guests and inspiration just like Ashley.
All right, everybody. So stay tuned for that follow through show in 5 to 15 days about how Barb and I did implementing the whole idea of empowering differences and everything that Ashley shared with us today. You can get her book too if you just Google her. We know that that's available. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the Business of Life Masterclass, the podcast for successful people embracing every chance to accomplish and experience all you can in business and in life. Listen, choose, do. Thank you.
Thank you.